of unknown etiology. It not only affects the bone and the joint, it also affects the skin, eyes, lungs and blood vessels. It has a fluctuating clinical course and unpredictable prognosis, associated with 60% increase in the risk of cardiovascular disease-related death. It has a complex and a multifactorial pathogenesis. I'll just try to sum up the pathophysiology of rheumatoid arthritis. The main thing here is the activation of a macrophage. This activation of macrophage can occur due to a T cell or an antigen presenting cell. This activation will release TNF alpha and interleukin 1. This released TNF alpha and interleukin 1 can act in the synovium, or it can act in the extracellular matrix, or it can act in the cartilage. If it acts in the synovium, it can result in synovitis and pannus formation. If it acts in extracellular matrix by means of the production of collagenase, it leads to the destruction of ECM. With the release of matrix metalloproteinase, it can also result in the cartilage degradation. So the pathophysiology in osteoarthritis is not much different. If we see, the tumor necrosis factor and interleukin 1 are the major cytokines involved in pathogenesis of osteoarthritis also. Elevated levels of interleukin 6, 17 and matrix metalloproteinases are found in synovial fluid in osteoarthritis. So the common factor between rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis is that tumor necrosis factor and interleukin 1 are the major inflammatory cytokines number 1, and the release of these inflammatory cytokines is mediated by nuclear factor kappa. Nuclear factor kappa is a transcription factor present in all cells, and it has an essential role in inflammatory and immune responses. It basically is a master switch of inflammation. This nuclear factor kappa B is not only involved in rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, it is also associated with ankylosing spondylitis, psoriatic arthritis and juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. So, it has been previously covered by Dr. Chawla, in which I will mention it. Activation of nuclear factor kappa B is due to inflammatory stimuli, resulting in IKB kinase being attached to inactive NFKB, and then the NFKB gets translocated into the nucleus and it releases the inflammatory mediators like TNF alpha, interleukin 1 and interleukin 6. So they can act in the synovial membrane, chondrocyte and also the bone. So what are the agents we have already? Agents that provide symptomatic relief are NSAIDs and steroids. With NSAIDs, they are very good medicines for pain relief, but they are not suitable for elderly patients, not safe for long-term usage in case of patients with gastritis, nausea, vomiting, rhinotoxicity patient, hepatotoxicity, and in patients with increased cardiovascular risk. In case of steroids are not advisable for long-term usage in gastritis, diabetes and hypertension, osteoporotic patient, and they carry increased risk of infections. So we have got some medicines to control the progression of disease, which are usually the DMARDs, methotrexate, hydroxychloroquine and leflunomide. The common underlying factor in these agents is they are slow in action and they take several weeks to show clinical effects. And they need close monitoring of patients for adverse effects, including liver function tests and complete blood count testing. We have good agents called biologics where we have specific action, where we have anti-TNF alpha agents like infliximab, adalimumab and etanercept, where IL-1 blocker is anakinra and IL-6 blocker is tocilizumab. For T-cell blocking activity, we have abatacept, and B-cell depleting antibody, we have rituximab. But all these agents target a specific inflammatory mediator only. They have got injection site reactions and they have to be injected in the body. They have an increased risk of serious conditions like demyelinating disease such as multiple sclerosis and also cancer, and they are expensive also. So we are in search for an innovative option for management of arthritis. We have got a drug called curcumin. It is nothing but diferroyl methane. It's a biologically active phytochemical compound obtained from rhizomes of Curcuma longa. It not only possesses the anti-inflammatory properties, it also got anti-angiogenic, anti-proliferative and antioxidant action. Curcumin basically inhibits the nuclear factor, which is the main master switch of inflammation. It has already been covered. It inhibits IKB kinase enzyme, activation of nuclear factors, inhibits translocation into nucleus, and inhibits release of inflammatory mediators. So what is the evidence that we have until now regarding curcumin in the role of rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis? This is a comparative study of curcumin with diclofenac. It was conducted by Baylor University, USA. Curcumin provided greater improvement in disease activity scores and American College of Rheumatology scores. We can see that the p-value is less than 0.05 and there was 52% reduction in the CRP level with curcumin. This is a study for curcumin monotherapy that was published in Open Rheumatology Journal 2014. 820 osteoarthritis patients were treated with curcumin for 6 months. Curcumin therapy provided significant improvement in pain, improved joint flexibility, better quality of life. 50% of the patients were able to discontinue NSAIDs and analgesics. This is a comparative study of curcumin with ibuprofen. 361 primary knee osteoarthritis patients with a pain score of more than 5 were randomized and treated for 4 weeks. We can find that all the 3 scores, namely WOMAC pain score, WOMAC stiffness scores, and WOMAC function subscale, all improved when compared to ibuprofen. Curcumin is effective as NSAIDs but has better GI tolerability. Role of curcumin in monotherapy. As a monotherapy agent, 100 patients with osteoarthritis were treated with curcumin for 8 months and there were at least more than 50% decrease in WOMAC scores. 3-fold increase in treadmill walking performance was observed. So curcumin is effective and safe for the long-term management. This is a combination therapy of curcumin and diclofenac. This was published in Journal of Medicine. 88 patients with primary knee osteoarthritis were given curcumin for 3 months. They had greater pain relief and better improvement in knee injury score. So what is the role of curcumin in combination therapy? When it is given with celecoxib in treating patients with rheumatoid arthritis, it enhances the actions of celecoxib on COX-2 enzyme and decreases the need for celecoxib. When it is given with prednisolone, it has been found that it reduces the side effects that were induced by the steroids and significant reduction in joint swelling was observed. Curcumin, when administered with methotrexate, provides synergistic action and it also reduces the hepatotoxicity and hematotoxicity that was induced by methotrexate. So the safety profile of curcumin, US FDA has approved curcumin as a safe drug and it can be given up to doses of 8 grams daily for 3 months. Unlike NSAIDs, they don't have other adverse effects and it is very well tolerated. So we have a conventional curcumin. The problem with conventional curcumin is a hydrophobic compound and it's a phenolic compound. So it is poorly absorbed from the GI tract. It is undetectable in plasma, doesn't reach the systemic organs as specified. The clinical trials carried out with conventional curcumin have used high doses, up to 12 grams per day. Few studies have shown positive results. They have poor GI tolerability when used in conventional form. So they have introduced the SMEDS technology in the preparation of bio-enhanced curcumin, which is the self-microemulsifying drug delivery system. SMEDS technology provides us with nano-sized hydrophilic droplets of curcumin, improved absorption and better tissue penetration, and they can easily cross blood and tissue barriers. We can see that bio-enhanced curcumin has got a good bioavailability in the charts. So to summarize, curcumin acts by inhibiting the master switch of inflammation, that is nuclear factor. It decreases the release of inflammatory prostaglandins. It can be used as a monotherapy for the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. For combination therapy, it is a very good drug. It has been shown to reduce the intake of analgesics. Unlike biologics, it can be given orally and it is safe and well tolerated. So that's about curcumin. Thank you very much. Let us make life painful.